All right, everyone, welcome into another episode of the Spoiler Alert Movie Podcast. Dylan and Ty here, and got a few movies overview this week. So here we are, of course, going to start out with what's coming next, what movies we're interested coming next. I don't think it's as many as there were this previous week, but we'll still give it a try. Ty's going to go over some movie news, some fun things there. Ty then saw Operation Fortune, so he's going to give some quick thoughts on there. No spoilers on that one. Since I did not see it and I want to see it. And then I'm going to give a missing overview. I saw that. That was the second movie that we saw with our main portion here, which is going to be a Creed 3 overview. Speaking of I can't even call this movie overrated. It's just a movie they should stop making, Ty, and that is Scream 6. So Scream 6 coming out this week. It's the next installment. The survivors of the Ghostface killings leave Woodsboro behind, and they start fresh in New York City. And big shocker, there's a new copycat. There's been like 8 at this point. One of the worst theories, and I really hope it's not true, is that I'm misremembering his name. The guy who was the first Ghostface killer, I guess technically it was 2 guys, but the guy who plays Shaggy in the Scooby-Doo
Yeah,
movies.
Matthew Lillard.
Yes, exactly. There's a rumor that he's back as the Ghostface killer, which would make absolutely no sense. So I really hope that's not true. But all in all, it's another. I almost said brick in the wall. I almost went Pink Floyd. But no, it's another horror movie that has way too many sequels. But hey, people keep seeing them, so they're going to keep producing them. And of course, Jenna Ortega's in this one, so people are going to be excited. The new Courtney Cox.
Yeah, a lot of people are having good first reactions here. They're saying it's intense, gory, and scarier than ever. So I agree. I do want to see this. I'm excited for it. I kind of am like a Scream. I have a soft spot for Scream. I don't know why, really. But it seems like all these horror movies, they kind of just get like 10 of them, like all the Final Fantasy, like all the Final Fantasy. Fuck.
I mean, there are way too many Final Fantasies too.
Halloween, all that. Friday the 13th. That's what I was looking for there.
Yeah. Saw.
There's like 13 of them.
We even talked about those last time. It's like, maybe we're part of the problem, Ty. We're going to see them.
Yeah. I guess that's the way the horror works, though.
Yeah, and that's a shame. Nobody has an original idea. That's what it feels like, and that's kind of what I'm looking for in a lot of movies now. I feel like such an asshole, like cynic, when I see a lot of these movies now. I'm like, yeah, that didn't excite me. That's kind of how I felt about Creed here. So getting a little ahead, it was nothing new. And at this point, that's kind of what I'm feeling about movies. But this next one, this is kind of new. In the sense that an astronaut crash lands on a mysterious planet only to discover he's not alone. And that can be taken a couple ways. But this movie is 65 with Adam Driver. He's not alone in the sense it's a prehistoric planet. I think it's actually supposed to be prehistoric Earth somehow. I'm sure they'll explain that or attempt to. But he's on there with a bunch of dinosaurs. And of course, a little girl. There's always a little girl in these movies that he has to protect. And at some point the little girl's going to save his life.
Yeah, I really hope this is more like Turok from the N64 days and not just a time-traveling movie you end up on a dinosaur planet. I don't know how they're going to pull it off. It does sound interesting enough. I like Adam Driver. I'll probably see this, but I'll have to make some time to see it. I don't know when.
Current median rating overall is 5.7 out of 10.
Ooh, not a great start.
Out of 349 reviews, so again, low sample size, but still, first reactions aren't great. And again, I don't expect a ton. Their big premise here is, hey, it's the same writers of A Quiet Place. And I'm like, okay, that I never like when a movie's biggest attribute is, hey, this is who wrote it.
Yeah, especially A Quiet Place, because I mean, it's good, but it wasn't anything special at the time.
No. That's a shame, right? Because when we first saw A Quiet Place, we saw it, of course, at the Alamo. I'm always going to bring up the Alamo. They're great. But it was fucking quiet. And that was the biggest thing for the movie. It was so quiet. And even in a theater, nobody wanted to talk. Sometimes you hear some ruffling of popcorn and everything, but that's what I think made it unique. But then if you went and watched it again, like at home,
Hmm.
it kind of loses that touch.
Yeah, it was definitely a watch in the theater type of movie. So I remember we did too, and I think we got to it late, so it was very awkward. It was dead silent. We tried to find our seats.
It's popped
Not a
in.
good look for us. Yeah, not a good look. But yeah.
Probably the movie I'm most excited for this week, which is funny, but Champions, a former minor league basketball coach, is ordered by the court to manage a team of players with intellectual disabilities. He soon realizes that despite his doubts, together, this team can go further than anyone ever imagined. This feels like The Ringer.
Yeah,
Not in
exactly.
in the sense that he's pretending to be disabled, but he's kind of taking them on. And honestly, if you look at the movie poster, it is very similar to the Bad News Bears poster, like the kind of cartoony uh, character drawings on the front.
Yeah, it is. I
So
wonder what
I
this. I wonder if this is going to be taken seriously or not. I wonder if they're just like. I hope it's good. I hope it's not like bad just because of the subject that it, it is. But
yeah,
like Woody Harrelson, he's in the news right now for whatever on SNL. So
he
I don't
doesn't
know.
like vaccinations, and if you
Yeah,
say that, you're canceled.
yeah. So hopefully this movie's good. I mean, it's an interesting enough premise. Like we said with The
Yeah,
Ringer, that was like a complete comedy. It seems like this is like a little bit more heartfelt, a little bit more. And there was some laughs in the trailer too. So I'll probably give this one a go.
yeah, we'll see what happens here. And I know I just said like I don't like when the movie's like, oh, this was written by whomever. What really does seem to matter is who directs it. And
Hmm.
this is directed by Bobby uh Farrelly. I hope I said his name right, but he's known for oh, I said it was wrote. It's directed by and produced by Bobby Farrelly, who directed There's Something About Mary, Me, Myself, and Irene, Shallow Hal, Osmosis Jones. So he has a pretty good track record of like stupid comedy movies.
Hmm. Is he like is he one of the brothers that did like the Dumb and Dumber and all that too? Is that the same
Yes.
Ferrelli? Okay.
Yes, it is. He was
Huh.
co-producer of Dumb and Dumber.
Well, that makes me feel a lot better about this then.
He funny enough, he also that doesn't make any sense. How the hell? Oh, okay. So for the first Dumb and Dumber, it was credited that his brother Peter directed it, but he's
Hmm.
also listed as a director, but he was uncredited. I don't know how that works, but
Yeah, I
uh,
remember because I always remember at the beginning of Dumb and Dumber it says directed by the Farrelly brothers. So
there we go. Oh yeah, it gives a little bit of a some hope there. He's also looking through this. Oh man. Okay,
Kingpin
I
2 by the Farrelly brothers, also starring Woody Harrelson.
exactly bringing him in. He did he directed 4 episodes of Trailer Park Boys.
Nice. Okay.
So that's good to see. Loudermilk, I talked about that show last time. He did 14 episodes. That's also a great show. So I got hopes because maybe excluding Trailer Park Boys, but Loudermilk hits on some kind of a tougher subject with alcoholism, depression, stuff like that, but in a
Hmm.
funny tone, which is kind of how I feel this movie will be, where it's overall serious, but he
Hmm.
had some laughter to it.
Yeah. And now I think I'm in the mood to watch Kingpin, so that's what I'm doing after the episode today.
There you go. Hey, I did watch Just Friends right after
Yeah.
I said, and still good, still funny.
Yeah.
Next few movies here. I'm always surprised how many of these movies I've never heard of, and even these ones, they have people in them that I know. So normally when I don't hear about a movie, it's because I don't know who the hell's in it, directed, whatever. But Luther, the Fallen Son. This is a brilliant but disgraced detective John Luther breaks out of prison to hunt down a sadistic serial killer who is terrorizing London. This is Idris Elba and Andy Circus, Zacchaeus.
Okay. Turkeys, yeah.
So if you know Andy, he is Gollum
Hmm.
in Lord of the Rings. He's Caesar in Planet of the Apes, Snoke in Star Wars, and then the only one where he isn't a really misshapen figure is Alfred in the latest Batman.
Yeah. So is this a Netflix movie? I think it is, because isn't this based
Yeah.
off the show Luther?
I'll be honest, I've never seen Luther.
Neither have I, but I
Okay,
was
there he
looking
is. Yes, yeah.
I was looking at the poster on IMDb here, and it says it's a Netflix movie coming to select theaters in February. So I
There
wonder
we
if this
go.
is like a prequel to the show or after the show, because I've never seen it, but I've heard of it, and you would think with Idris Elba, Circus, all that, this would be a bigger release, but I don't know.
Yeah, didn't hear shit about it.
No.
Apparently this was a BBC television series
Okay, that's it then.
that came to Netflix. So Netflix didn't create the show, they just kind of hosted it.
Okay. I mean,
Now
this,
Netflix has the rights, it seems like.
especially if it's going to drop on Netflix, I'll probably give this a watch. It sounds interesting enough, and this trailer's going in the background here, and it looks pretty good.
Yeah, agree.
Hunted by a killer, so we'll see.
And Idris is hard as fuck, so hopefully that's good.
Yeah, I'm excited for it now. I'm going to give this one a watch.
Next one here, a name I have not heard in a long time, but Morgan Freeman. This movie is
Wow.
Ritual Killer. I apparently forgot to write down the description. So let me just fuck around here and keep stalling until I say that a detective on the verge of retirement teams up with a professor of African studies to track down a serial killer who is performing the ancient black magic practice of Muti. But yeah,
They
not a clue what to think about it, but here we are.
they lost me a little bit there in the end, but I did realize that Cole Hauser is fucking ripped from Yellowstone.
Oh,
Shout out
there
to
he is.
Yellowstone.
Yeah.
So this movie stars Rip from Yellowstone, who's the best character in Yellowstone. So I just started to watch that not too long ago. So this could be cool. I like Cole Hauser.
Wait a minute. He's Benny in Dazed and Confused. I did not know that.
Wow.
Oh, I love Dazed and Confused. Okay. All right. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. But literally heard nothing about this movie until I
No.
started looking up.
All in all, I'd
Uh,
say this is a pretty solid week of upcoming movies so far. This might be the most well-rounded bunch we've had yet, 6 episodes in.
Final one here. I think we're going to end on a low note, honestly.
Boy.
The Magic Flute. So just by name itself, you're like, okay, the fuck is this? Yet another British film. 70-year-old Tim Walker, as he travels from London to the Austrian Alps to attend the legendary Mozart boarding school. There, he discovers a century-old forgotten passageway into the fantastic world of Mozart's The Magic Flute. Uh, yeah. So I don't know. I think it's geared towards kids, most likely.
Yeah,
Starring F. Murray Abram. You'll know him from Mythic Quest and The White Lotus. He is the
the grandpa.
father, grandpa in The White Lotus. Yes.
Hmm.
Also, Ewan
Also,
Rion from
yeah,
Game of Thrones.
this is giving off dollar store Harry Potter vibes.
That's true. A little knockoff.
Yeah, it's like something you'd see on the shelf for $5, and you'd think it's Harry Potter, but it's the Magic Flute.
There's a big ass snake in it, so
I just saw that too. They're trying to go for Dune and Harry Potter. Even
yeah,
the clothes they're wearing, they look exactly like they're going for Harry Potter. Every shot, dark, looks like Order of the Phoenix in this one. It looks like
yeah.
they're going for the Harry Potter audience. I don't know how well they're going to capture that, but good for them.
Looks like they ride a train to where they're going. Instead of wand, he has a conductor's little, well, wand. But
Yeah.
no, they all got their crest for their house that they're in. You get put into Mozart, Bach, or I don't know, many more classical artists. But I'm that's going too far. But yeah, doesn't look like any interest to me at all.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a pass from me too.
All right, but that does it for what's coming out this week. Ty, we got some movie news.
Let's hop into it. There's not a lot this week, so bear with me here. So we're going to make the best out of it. But some big news off the top. Yesterday, we had a really good night of fights, UFC 285.
Oh
But
yeah.
before that, we had actor Jake Gyllenhaal making his Roadhouse film appearances at the UFC card. So busy weekend with fighting here with Creed 3 debuting then this UFC card. But after John Jones and Cyril Gahn finished their ceremonial weigh-in, Gyllenhaal took the stage with former UFC fighter Jay Haran, who's also in the movie. And then they filmed their own weigh-ins as part of the remake for the 1989 film Roadhouse. So then, after the fights, Gyllenhaal also got into the cage and filmed scenes in there too. So he filmed a scene where he was fighting Jay Haran. He won the bout by a flying knee, and then the ref came to stop the fight, and Jake Gyllenhaal just continued to beat the shit out of him. So this looks like a wild movie. I mean, we're UFC guys; it should be fun. We get Bruce Buffer in the movie too. So no release date for this yet, though, but also gonna have Conor McGregor in it.
Yeah, I it's going to be wow. That's all that can be said. I haven't seen the original Roadhouse. I know about it. So I don't know exactly what the hell they were filming at the UFC event last yesterday.
Mhm.
So I think I texted you. I'm like, it has to be like a flashback for him being a fighter because the story of Roadhouse is the dude's just a bouncer in a bar. And yeah, he can whoop ass. So maybe this is just kind of like his backstory of how he was once a UFC fighter.
Yeah, maybe because in the scene that they shot, I mean, it's viral all over the place now. So that part we've already seen that'll be in the movie. But he keeps beating the shit out of this guy after the ref stops the fight. So maybe he gets kicked out of the UFC or whatever, and then has to be a bouncer at a local fucking dive bar. Who knows? I didn't see the first one either, but we'll see.
That would make sense. Fun fact here, though, Ronda Rousey was actually supposed to be the lead.
Wow.
She got fired.
So they went with Conor McGregor, who's also not controversial and all
No,
that
no, not at
either.
all.
So here we go, another news topic here. We have a new Alien movie starting to film here in March. The film will follow a group of young people on a distant world who find themselves in a confrontation with the most terrifying life form in the universe. So, like we just said about Scream, we get, I don't know, maybe the sixth or seventh overall Alien movie, maybe even more than that, though. But I'm going to try to say this guy's name, Fede Alvarez. He's going to
Okay.
be the director and screenwriter and producer. He's also directed The Girl in the Spider's Web, Don't Breathe, an Evil Dead remake, which soft spot. I like that movie. Don't Breathe 2 was also really good, but then and then Ridley Scott's also going to be the executive producer. So at least he's tied in somehow.
They're also doing an Alien TV show on FX. So I don't. They got a lot going on here around the Alien universe, and I'm curious how that goes. Because not only I'm not sure if this is the prequel or not, because actually I do know because it says right here. So the one you just described is called Untitled Alien Project on
Hmm.
IMDb, but there's also an Untitled Alien prequel in the works, also with Ridley Scott.
Okay, yeah, I did see that this project is going to be in this prequel series here, which started with Prometheus and then Alien Covenant. Alien Covenant was actually a pretty good movie. I didn't mind it one bit.
Also, it's starring Dora the Explorer, so that's fun.
Huh. So who knows here if it'll be any good? I mean, they've all just been about like, the aliens here, so we'll see what happens. I have no interest in watching the TV show, though. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah.
Couple more things here. I'm going to talk about it once again just because of these awards that just happened, but everything, everywhere, all at once, continuing to dominate these award shows. I won a record-breaking 7 prizes at last night's Spirit Awards, winning
Oh
every
yeah.
category it was nominated. The only award it did not win was for Jamie Lee Curtis, who lost supporting performer to her co-star in the actual same movie, Ke Huy Quan. So, yeah, we talk about it a lot here, everything everywhere all at once. We love it. We think it should win Best Picture, all that, but this is just another reason why it should. Last
And
thing here. Oh,
Oscars
go ahead.
are coming what next week, Ty? So I think next episode we're likely gonna discuss Oscar movies.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get busy watching some of these movies here for sure. Last thing here, we got the Dead by Daylight horror movie coming from Blumhouse. So Atomic Monster, that's James Wan's company here, and Blumhouse are teaming up with Behavior Interactive, that's Canada's largest gaming studio, to develop
Okay.
feature film adaptation of the hit horror multiplayer game Dead by Daylight. So since its launch in 2016, Dead by Daylight has reached over 50 million players worldwide.
Yeah.
The game features a vast universe of original gruesome killers such as the Nurse, the Wraith, the Hag, and more. There are also several classic horror movie villains from licensed movies like Halloween, Hellraiser, and A Nightmare on Elm Street. But basically, one player takes on the role of a killer, and every other person runs around and tries to survive. So, companies are commencing their search right now for a director and a screenwriter for the project. It would seem like James Wan would be a perfect fit given his resume and his enthusiasm for the game. But what do you think about this?
Yeah, have you played the game, Ty?
For a while there, it was one of the only games to play on Xbox One back in the day. There wasn't very many things out to play. So I dabbled with it and it was okay. I don't know how
Yeah.
you can get a movie out of this though. There's not much going on there other than I think you run around and try to turn on some generators and run away from a killer.
Yeah, I'm curious how much of the game that they'll put into it. So my current assumption is there's going to be a group of people, much like every other horror film, like the
Hmm.
Friday the 13th films, which they also turned into a very, very similar game. They're going to get
Hmm.
like transported to some world and they got to escape. That's really all I can think of the premise being. Some people were making jokes about this movie where there better be a scene where one of the survivors is jumping in and out of a window, escaping the monster, because that's a very well used strategy in the game. They just keep jumping through windows as often as they can to piss off the monster. But there's also some talks here where there's an opportunity to include some of the other characters from movies, including Megan. Since they
Huh.
own Megan, maybe Megan could be some sort of enemy in the game. The Halloween series, like you said, Blumhouse also owns them currently. The Black Phone, maybe they put
Oh yeah.
him in there. Firestarter, that I'm not too big in the Firestarter, but Get Out, Glass. There's a lot they can do with this. Insidious, they could do the little red face guy. So
I
there's
wonder.
quite a few people they could throw into this movie.
I wonder if they're gonna try to go meta with it and kind of make it like a cabin in the woods type deal, when there's like
Yes.
bigger things at play than what it seems or something like that. So that could be cool in that aspect because I really don't know how you can just make a movie out of running away from a killer for like the game.
And that's actually a really cool idea. These people are thrown into this and it's just a game to everyone else who's watching, right?
Hire
But
me. I'll
they
write the
can actually
script. Do
die.
it. I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll
Bring
do
them
it,
in.
game.
I didn't know they did Paranormal Activity, Sinister. There's so much they can do. Yeah, so I hope it is a little maybe silly is not a word, meta, like you said.
Hmm.
That's how I think the movie would end up doing the best.
Yeah, I think so too. So maybe this will be good. We'll see.
All right, Ty. So, Operation Fortune, I think it had a fancier French name that we're not going to try to repeat, but you saw that this week. Give us your thoughts on it. No spoilers here.
Yeah, so it wasn't playing in very many theaters near me, and also there wasn't really much promotion for it, which I thought was weird for a Jason Statham-led action movie directed by Guy Ritchie. So, Operation Fortune here, it's like we said before, we gave the rundown on it, but it's Jason Statham doing Jason Statham shit, and that's not a
Yeah.
bad thing. He's definitely, I think he's definitely up there as far as like best action stars of our generation. Would you agree?
Um, yes, he kind of fills that role of like how Bruce Willis was anytime they needed an action guy. Hey, get
Hmm.
get the bald British guy, throw him in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's good. He had a run, probably like mid to late 2000s where he was just in everything.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
Guy Ritchie obviously loves him. He's in a lot of his films. Um, but yeah, no, you think action, you think Jason Statham.
Yeah. So a couple other things here. Big Aubrey Plaza guy lately. She's been killing it in The White Lotus and then Emily the Criminal on Netflix. She's hilarious and she can pull off the dramatic roles too. She's really good in the movie. And there's another guy who I recognize from being in The Gentleman. I had to look him up. His name's Bugsy Malone. He's a UK
Yeah.
rapper and actor, and he's the guy. He plays JJ in this movie. He must be one of Guy Ritchie's guys now, just kind of like Hugh Grant is. So he's gonna be maybe he'll be in some more of his other movies, but I recognized him. And then I'm not sure why this didn't get more promotion. Like I said, uh, let's see. But don't trust the critics on it. Right now, it's sitting at 52% Rotten critic score and then 86 audience score. I definitely recommend this movie, and I definitely sit with the audience on this. This movie's a good time with some laughs and good action. I'm sure it'll probably be streaming soon because it didn't get a very wide release. So look out for that. I landed at about a 75, 7.5 on it. I liked it. It's a good time.
Yeah, and that seems to be the case with a lot of Guy Ritchie movies. The people like it, the critics don't. I don't know what it is about it, but if we look back at some of his films like Sherlock Holmes, probably a more popular one.
Hmm.
People, 7.6 out of 10. Critics, 5.7 out of 10. The fuck? Snatch,
Yeah.
one of his earlier films. This is a massive discrepancy. 8.2 out of 10. Critics, 5.5. So I don't know what they hate so much about him. His movies are always fast paced and exciting, and I'm assuming that's the case here.
Yeah, and his last movie, The Gentleman, was one of my favorite. I'm not sure why this didn't get a bigger release, but I definitely know you'll like it, being a Guy Ritchie fan like me. So look out for that to be streaming soon. I'm sure it will be.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm fully in on this movie. Um, looking. Oh, also, Carrie Ules, Eules. I can't say his last name, but Doctor Gordon from the Saw films is in it, so I'm always big on
Ah.
him. Yeah, so I'm 100% in on that film. I'd like to see it sooner than later, so I'm in on that one.
Hmm.
For the movie I saw that you didn't, is going to be Missing. So Missing is very similar to the film Searching. Have you seen Searching?
I haven't, but I know the whole premise. So is this like that? And do you see the whole movie through the screen, like a computer
Exactly.
screen? Okay, that's what I thought.
So that can be off-putting for a lot of people for a lot of reasons, but
Hmm.
it's really it is interesting. So in Searching, it's about a father looking for his daughter. He thinks she was kidnapped, can't find her. This is essentially the same thing,
Hmm.
except instead of a child, a daughter going missing, it is this girl's mother who goes missing. She goes on vacation with her new boyfriend to Colombia, which I'm not gonna try to offend anyone here, but Colombia not the safest place. Like that's just a fact.
Right.
I don't
Right.
know, why you're going there, but she disappeared. She goes to pick up her mom at the airport, doesn't show up. So the whole movie is her trying to figure out what happened to her, and it is seen through the lens of different devices. She's FaceTiming on her iPhone. She is doing Google searches on her MacBook. She's using WhatsApp. She uses like TaskRabbit, and then whatever the Colombian version is down there
Hmm.
to try to send people on task because she can't do anything because she's stuck at home. So overall, I did enjoy it. It is different. I think it's definitely made for like the younger generation. I think that's what they're
Hmm.
trying to do when everything is on a device. Because I mean, everything is on a device right now. I'm not one of those people that are like, "Oh, stay off your fucking phones." That nonsense. It's not going to happen. I'm on my devices all the time. Everyone just needs to shut the fuck up about it. It's how we live now. But
True.
no, definitely meant to appeal to maybe like that teenage age because it's scary, right? It's like you feel good. You're home alone. You get to throw a party with all your friends and everything. Your mom's gone. You're having a good time. Hey, she's gone. Different country, completely disappeared. Uh, you're at the mercy of the police, the FBI, whoever is looking for her, and they're not doing a good job. So that's really how it feels here. It is. I enjoyed it. I did. This is going to be controversial. I gave it a higher rating than I gave Creed 3.
Wow.
Um, barely. I gave Creed a 5 out of 10. I gave this a 6 out of 10. I felt there was more. Well, we'll get into it with the Creed 3 review, but I felt there was more substance and actual story behind this movie than there was Creed. Overall, it's a decent watch. Again, not for everyone. Would I pay for it? I mean, I did, but
Hmm.
I really only watched it because it was a double feature and came after Creed 3, funny enough. Would I go pay for it to watch on its own? Probably not.
Hmm. Okay, I did see that it's coming to streaming next week, so I'll be able to watch it on Amazon or something like that. And
Oh, geez.
I know
Quick.
that this lead actress here, Storm Reed, she was just in the last episode of The Last of Us.
Yes. Ty, did you watch Westworld?
Yeah, I did. I think I might have fell off after season 2 sometime though. Did not
So,
finish.
her mother in real life plays Maeve in Westworld.
Oh, okay. I know who that is.
So that is likely, how she got the connection with HBO. But
Right, okay.
uh, yeah, no, she's good. I have no problem with her acting. She acts like how a kid should in a situation like this. I didn't
Hmm.
find any faults in that. Yeah, you can be like, why is she acting stupid at times? She's a kid.
Hmm.
Like that's literally the reasoning you have to put behind a lot of these things.
Yeah, I'll definitely check this one out too, especially with it coming to streaming next week. Actually this week. So yeah, I'll give it a watch for sure.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, decent enough story. Worth sitting down in. It's not super long that it gets tedious.
Good, nice. I'm in.
All right, so Ty, getting into sort of the meat of the episode, we're going to do a review of Creed 3, both spoiler free and uh, spoiler full. I don't think that's a word, but
Hmm.
with spoilers. So let's start off without any spoils here. We'll start with the pros first, if you want to kick it off.
Okay, yeah. So to me, this is the best and my favorite movie of the year so far. It's the eighth movie of 2023 I've seen. It's had a huge opening weekend. It took in $58.6 million when it broke
Nice.
the record projections that it had. So that's the best opening for a Rocky movie, a Creed movie, and then a sports movie in general.
Wow.
So yeah, I think really good performances here all around, but I think Jonathan Majors is yet again the standout. He's been in the best part of the last two movies he starred in, this and Ant-Man Quantumania, and he achieved the rare feat of having two consecutive number one movies in back-to-back weekends. So he deserves all the praise he's been getting. I think he's going to be continue to be a standout here in Hollywood for a long time. I thought Michael B. Jordan did a really good job for his first directorial debut, and without getting too much more further into it, yeah, I think I landed at about 85 on it, 8.5.
Oh man, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll start with my pros here. I 100% agree with you. Jonathan Majors is a force when he's on screen. Every scene he was in focused on him. Now, maybe that was on purpose,
Hmm.
because of him being such a big part of the movie, of course. But even if it wasn't on purpose, his acting just kind of makes him outshine everyone else he's on there, especially when kind of compared with Michael B. Jordan, who I don't consider quite that good of an actor. But Jonathan Majors definitely takes the screen. He looks fucking huge, by the way. We talked about that, where he just looks massive against
Oh
everyone
my
they put
gosh.
him against. And then we took the time to look up, all right, how big is he? He really isn't that big. So him and Michael B. Jordan are the same size, 5'11". And from what I saw, there's a bunch of different reports, but for the movie, it looked like Jonathan Majors made it up to 202 pounds. Michael B. Jordan sitting around 185. And like, that's not that big of a difference, but when they put them next to each other in the movie, Majors is fucking huge compared to the
Mhm.
guys he's fighting.
Oh, absolutely.
In general, the fight scenes. So I have pros and cons about the fight scenes. So the fight scenes should have been the best part of this movie, and the first fight. I'm again no spoilers here, but the first fight that happens, incredibly choreographed.
Hmm.
You can feel the hits. I had the
Yeah.
bass in my car going every time someone got socked in the mouth. So
Hmm.
you could feel those. The fights were very well done. Um, I'm trying to think some more pros here. Ty, you got in the 85 range. You need more pros than I do.
Yeah, I think we need to hop into spoilers for me to go on any more about it.
Fair
But
enough. Then let's do cons here. So it wasn't a 10 out of 10 for you, but it was still
mhm.
pretty high. That means that you saw some cons in there. What did you see there that made you bring it down from not a perfect 10?
Should we just go ahead and hop into spoilers here, do you think?
Um, I'll give my cons, spoiler free. And that's just going to be the story itself was felt a bit shallow in my mind.
Hmm.
It could be undermined by a very simple solution at times,
Hmm.
and some of the characters just did not act as they should.
Hmm.
So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into spoilers. If you don't want spoilers for Creed 3, this is the end of the episode. See you next time.
Okay, so the one thing I really liked this movie, like I said, but the one thing I didn't love was that whole in like the last fight here with Dame and Adonis. I didn't love the whole boxing in the fog slash prison
Yeah.
CGI
Yes.
in between rounds. I thought that was kind of corny. I don't think it looked particularly good either. I'd rather just had them like do a time lapse of them fighting with the actual audience behind them. But then once they did break out of that and they did cut back to the audience, it was a cool shot whenever they finally did it. But I didn't like that really at all.
Yeah, I 100% with you. I laughed when they went through that scene, not because of how the scene looked, but when that scene ended and they were sitting down again, they're like, "All right, that's the end of round 11." I'm like, "What the fuck do you mean that's the end of round 11? That was like 2 minutes." And so
Yeah.
like the whole skip forward, the fight scenes are supposed to be the best parts of these movies. And the
Hmm.
first fight, I will argue, was better than the last one. The first
I
fight
would
being
agree with that.
against the Mexican dude for the light
Garcia? Was it
Garcia.
Garcia? Yeah.
For the heavyweight championship of the world, the first fight. First off, that fight should have never happened. That's so unrealistic.
Hmm.
Dude's like, yep, I was just in prison for 18 years. I should be able to fight for the heavyweight championship of the world. And somehow they're like, yeah, let's do that. Now, in the movie, Michael B. Jordan's character is like, no, it doesn't work that way. That doesn't make sense. And you're like, yes, thank you. But you know it's gonna happen.
Hmm.
And then guess what? Drago breaks his hand and can't fight. And instead of throwing in someone else that's uh in the mix for top contenders, we're grabbing this guy because he's Creed's buddy. That was just such a big. We talked about it before the movie came out. Where like they need to be able to make that work, otherwise, I'm not. It's not going to sit right with me.
That's like I texted you. It's hard. I had to try to suspend some disbelief because we are such big fight fans. We know that that wouldn't happen in real life. But I thought some other things I liked about the movie. I thought that did a great job playing up that drama between Adonis and Dame growing up,
Yeah,
being buddies, and then getting thrown into like the what do they call it? The home.
the halfway. No, not the halfway house. Yeah,
I was gonna say I thought halfway house
the
too,
group
but
home. Yeah,
the group home. Yeah, they just
yeah,
called it the group home, and I liked all that. But then you get deeper into it, and you realize that it wasn't really Adonis's fault that he never really he kind of lost touch with Dame, and that's why Dame's so
yes,
bitter after he got out of prison. He's jealous of Adonis and everything he has now. He felt like it should have been him, but then I don't know if they did a good enough job. Really, I don't know. At the end, it just seemed like kind of, oh, it's okay, dude, we're good. Even though after all this just happened, we're still buddies. Like I don't know.
yeah, exactly. And that's kind of how we felt it might have been at the beginning. You're like, all right, we know they're gonna fight, and then
Hmm.
we're like, they're probably gonna be friends at the end, just because that's how these movies go. And that's why
Yeah.
I said I need something new. They can't just follow the same tropes and everything for all these fighting movies. It just doesn't work. And that's why
Yeah.
I think the first Rocky movie worked because he lost,
Hmm.
right? He put up a good fight. It made him famous, but he lost. And
Hmm.
and that's I don't know if shocker is the right word, but that's not how a lot of these fight movies go. You think the main character is always going to win.
Yeah, I definitely didn't expect Dane to be fighting somebody else at first besides Adonis. I thought he was going to come
Right.
in and just straight up fight Creed for the belt, which I'm kind of glad that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
And like I do get it whenever Dame had the guy go in and break Drago's hand, then he was really behind it all the whole time. Because up until that point, you kind of feel yourself rooting for Dame because he's like got that underdog
Right.
story coming up, and you feel for Dame. Another prop to Majors for just how well he pulled that off. You root for Dame pretty much the whole way through this movie, even maybe I would say even against Creed at points, just
Yeah.
because. Just because of that come up story, he was away for all this time while Adonis was doing what Dame wanted to be doing.
Yeah. He protected him, right? Because
Yeah.
Adonis was getting his ass whooped. He pulls a gun to save his buddy, and
Hmm.
guess what? The police pull up. Yeah, it's a shame. And then he did. He kind of ran like a little bitch, but you can't deny that. But yeah, it was around there where you root for Dane or Dane, Dame,
Dame,
Dane
yeah,
because
Dame.
it's Damien. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you root for him because Creed acts like a dick in this movie, honestly. He's good to him at first. He's like, yeah, come work for me. We'll get you on your feet. I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah, that's nice of him to do. And then when Dame finally does win the championship, instead of being happy for his buddy, he's mad that the guy who he was promoting and managing from his gym lost. It's like,
Hmm.
bro, just like he looks at Creed after he wins smiling. He's like, I did it. He's very excited. And it felt like if Creed just been like, I'm proud of you, but hey, look, my guy's kind of fucked up right now.
Hmm.
It would have been more understanding and they wouldn't have to go through all this. And honestly, I saw a path where and maybe it would have made for a better movie in my mind. But there was a path for Creed to kind of manage his friend and help him out. That they both win in that situation.
Yeah, I think if they would have went that way, and then it turns out you find out that Dame had all these other intentions, that would have maybe been a little bit of a better movie.
So my problem there is like I never really understood what the other intentions were. It's like, yes, he's gonna quote unquote use Creed to get into the fight game yet again and everything, but it's like after that was brought up, so maybe let's rewind there.
Hmm.
Creed goes to see his mom for some reason after the fight, and the mom's like, I kept these letters from you from Dame as he was writing to you while he was in prison. And you realize that's why they were so disconnected, is because Creed didn't think he was trying to communicate with him at all while he was inside. And you find out that's the case. The mom really just fucked it all up. You're like, he was a bad egg. And you don't really find out why he was so much of a bad egg. It didn't feel that way. They were doing the same shit. Creed was the one who beat up the dude. So I don't know. It's just very mixed feelings there. And after he goes and looks for him at the beach, first off, he fucking KO'd that dude that wasn't letting him in. And then it was like nothing happened.
Oh yeah, he just one shot him. It was hilarious. Like he like killed the guy. I think he
Yeah.
just
It's like they're just arguing on the beach. Like that dude's passed out because he just got rocked by the ex heavyweight champ. So that was hilarious. But like on the beach, he could have been like, dude, look at these letters my mom just showed me. I had no idea. He's like, oh shit, man. That makes sense.
yeah, my bad, dude. I got these letters that you said you wrote me that I never got. Let's just settle it here, bro. All good. And I think that probably, I mean, it doesn't make for a good movie, if we're being honest. So I think we're
Oh,
getting
yeah.
we might be being a little too critical here. But yeah, it could definitely have all just been all right if Mama Creed didn't save those goddamn letters.
Yeah. 100% would be a worse movie. But that's the shit that I don't want to say I look for, but that's the shit I notice. And that's like an immediate plot hole for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was upsetting there. Instead, he throws that picture at him, and then Dame smacks him in the face, and Creed does nothing. And speaking, he probably didn't hit back because his wife was like, "No, we can't do that. You can't just punch people in the face anymore."
Yeah.
Couple things there. One, the beginning of the movie, his daughter's getting in fights in school, which is funny.
Hmm.
And his wife's like, we can't just teach her to fight. It doesn't work that way. And then 20, 30 minutes later, after the mom dies randomly, it's like they tried to throw a bunch of climaxes in at one time. Dame wins
Hmm.
the heavyweight championship. They fight on the beach. Mom has a stroke and dies. It's like all this is just going on within 10, 15 minutes of each other.
Yeah.
But at the mom's funeral, his wife's like, all right, go punch him in the face.
Yeah.
It that's the problem I had with Avatar, right? It's like the dialogue doesn't matter because it goes back to what it originally was.
Hmm.
What else? Tessa Thompson. I kind of want to talk about her.
Okay.
Another actress in Westworld.
Hmm.
She phenomenal actress.
I agree. I agree. I'm glad you didn't say you hate her. 'Cause I like this talk a
No.
lot.
Yeah, she's fantastic. Like in Westworld, she's playing a character that's playing another character that plays another character, right?
Hmm.
So it's like to go through that many layers of her character in Westworld
Hmm.
shows just how good she is. And I think she was watered down in this movie. She didn't have a chance to shine like she did definitely in the last movie. Was she in the first one?
Think so? I can't remember. I think so though.
She was, yes. Okay. First two movies, she definitely shined brighter.
Hmm.
This one, she felt in the background and watered down. And
Yeah, I would agree.
the whole thing about her in the first two movies is like she's deaf, but she's also a musical artist. Obviously, that conflicts.
Hmm.
She didn't have a hearing aid in this whole movie, so I
I
don't.
think she did. I did see her with a hearing aid at one
Okay.
point. I think at the recording party it was.
Okay. All right. Good. I'm glad you spotted that because I'm like, wait a minute, aren't you like deaf? So, okay, cool. That's good then. But yeah,
Yeah.
I felt like she was much more of a background character, and that's not where she deserves to be.
Yeah, they kind of did water her down for this one. I would agree with that. It seemed like every time she was on the screen, she was pretty much just kind of arguing with Adonis about how he's feeling, or, you
Yeah,
know, just kind of doing stuff with the daughter, which I get it with the deaf daughter, but it did kind of feel a little bit forced.
yeah. I think this. I don't remember the second movie that well, but I think that was their worry when they were having a kid.
It was, yeah, because she
Okay.
has the genes, all that.
Yes. Okay. Um, daughter, I didn't mind her. I
Yeah.
she's actually deaf, I believe.
Okay. I'm gonna say it seems like more movies are doing that now. They're actually casting the someone that would actually be
Yeah.
deaf or someone
Why
that's actually
not?
blind. So that's good for them. She was a cute kid. I think she did a pretty good job.
Yeah. Had no problem with her. She played her role.
Yeah.
Um. Uh, yeah, I'm not sure what else to say. I mean, it's obvious Creed gets his title back, but then it's
hmm
like, okay, where do they go from there?
Yeah, because there's
Like,
no way you can get Jonathan Majors out of these movies. He was a star in this one. There's no way you can just drop his character altogether for the next one, which I don't really know
yeah,
where they're gonna go from here. But I know that I did see that Jonathan Majors and Michael B. Jordan want to keep working together. They said they want to have a De Niro and Pacino type working relationship.
you see, they people made fun of that as well. They're like, so they're gonna make one more movie together because Al Pacino and De Niro are not in that many movies together.
Yeah, I know. Maybe he should have said like De Niro and
Pesci,
Pesci, exactly.
yeah. So sure, I hope that's the case. Maybe if it's not in the Creed universe, the Rocky universe, sure, I'll gladly see them in something else. But I think the Rocky universe has kind of run its course.
Yeah, maybe they'll bring Rocky back for the next one. I wonder. I don't know. They're gonna have to do something. They can't just have another Drago show up. You can't fight Dame again. Dame and Drago, nobody wants to see that. I don't know where they're gonna go from here, but it'll be exciting if they can pull it off. I'm kind of a sucker for these movies.
So, uh, speaking of Stallone, I'm pretty sure they are never going to bring him back.
Really?
So yes, because he said in the trivia here, it says Stallone confirmed that he will never watch this movie, and the reason is Erwin Winkler saying you can't make peace with someone who has been so nefarious, in my opinion. Stallone criticized Winkler for developing a new spin-off based on the character of Dolph Lundgren, Ivan Drago, by saying an unnecessary spin-off movie.
Huh. So is there
So
gonna be a Drago movie?
I think was there. I think so. Yes. Actually, I'm almost certain I saw that.
I thought so too.
Yes, there it is. Drago. Plot kept under wraps, but it does have Dolph Lundgren and Florian Montanu, who plays
That's young
Victor.
Drago? Okay.
Yes. Well, his son. His son.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So I
So
wonder
they're coming
I
back.
wonder I wonder how they're gonna do that there. Because I wonder if they're gonna
I
keep Creed and Drago separately or what. I wouldn't think that
exactly.
I kind of see why he would be mad at that. 'Cause I don't really think Drago deserves his own series really either. He's
Yeah.
already like he lost to Rocky back in the day and then fucking he loses to Creed in the second Creed and got his
He.
hand broken this one by a dude with a pipe.
Yeah. His dad murdered Apollo.
Yeah, he did
So
kill his dad. Maybe they're gonna want to fight again. He's like, you know, I just remembered your dad killed my dad, so let's fight again.
yeah. So yeah, no idea. Maybe that gets canned before it even gets started, but it is currently they're trying to make it happen.
Huh. Couple other
Uh,
things I didn't touch on. I did really like the soundtrack to this movie. Starting off with Dr. Dre, I was hooked immediately. I love
yeah,
Dr.
yeah.
Dre. And then they remix it back into the movie later on. That was cool. Love it when a movie does that. Um, let's see, anything else? Let's see. Oh, side note, Jonathan Majors is rumored to play Dennis Rodman in a biographical drama about him. It's called 48 Hours in Vegas. Count me in.
All right. He's way smaller than him, but yeah,
Yeah,
it
they'll have
doesn't
to pull
matter.
off
They
that
can make
movie
him look
mentioned
big.
again. Dennis
Yeah,
Rodman's such a character. That movie would be wild. I think Jonathan Majors would be able to pull it off great too.
he
So
can
that'd be
go
really cool.
go meet Kim Jong Un.
Yeah, but
Uh,
all in all, like I said, this is the second best Creed movie for me, right behind the first one. I like it better than Creed 2. And Michael B. Jordan did a pretty good job in his directorial debut. I wish I was able to take more notes during the movie, so I was kind of in a packed theater. I didn't want to have my phone out the whole time, or I'd have a lot more in-depth thoughts on it. But yeah, like I said, to me, this is the best of the year so far, which we haven't really had anything that has been really blowing
Sure.
us away. I really liked Infinity Pool. That was still only about an 83 or so. So, like I said, I like this a little bit more than that, about an 85.
Yeah, I'm a little bit on the other spectrum, and I think it goes back to what we said about Ant-Man. Going
Hmm.
into Ant-Man, I had low expectations, so
Hmm.
I was pretty happy with what I got. You went in with high
Hmm.
and got a little lower. I
Hmm.
went in with high expectations on this one, and it didn't hit what I wanted. I think you also went in with high expectations,
Hmm.
but you just enjoyed it a little bit more than I did.
Yeah.
And again, that's fair. I hate how and yeah, I have some pretty hard stances on some movies and everything, but people enjoy what they enjoy. I have nothing against you for enjoying this movie. Like I would hope you have nothing against me for not enjoying it as much. So
Yeah.
it's just like there's that respect about talking films, TV shows, stuff like that. Yes, I 100% have hard stances on some films, but this isn't one of them. This isn't one of them to take that hard stance.
Hmm. It makes for a far better podcast too, whenever we both have differing opinions on a movie
Yeah.
for sure.
Exactly. You get people because that's I think people are going to have the same feelings. It's either they're kind of on the fence or yeah, I don't really know how to feel. So hearing both sides is probably good for them. I would hope.
Hmm.
Leave us comments letting us know if that's the case or not. But uh, yeah, that's just how I feel about it. It was kind of like every other fighting movie to me, and
Hmm.
at this point, I'm looking for something new.
I definitely think like a general audience though is gonna love this movie.
Yeah,
Fan of Creed and fan of Rocky or not, I think anybody can go to this movie and kind of like it, and probably won't nitpick it as much as we have been. But I
yeah.
definitely think all in all, good movie. I liked it.
Cool, cool. And people seem to agree. 7.4 out of 10 right now on IMDb. Critics seem to
Hmm.
agree as well. Currently sitting at a 74 on Metacritic. I'm not sure what it is on Rotten Tomatoes. You use them a bit more than I do. Do you see anything there?
Yeah, it's 87% certified fresh
There you
critic
go.
and 96% audience. So that's even better.
Cool. Fair enough. Yeah, Ty, I think we ended here.